Hellcat. Coming like a Hellcat.
Welcome to Swag TV for Week 6 of the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series 4, the ComServeWireless.com 200. Tonight, we have a great show as these talented drivers take on the always exciting virtual Dover International Speedway. I am your announcer, Atlee Atman-Weiss, and joining me tonight to call the action is Eric Steele. Hey, Eric, how you doing tonight?
Hey, not doing too bad tonight. Excited to do my first round of announcing here for Swag TV. How about yourself?
I'm excited for some kind of short track racing at Dover. Dover is not considered a short track, but still it can really take a toll on the tires, so I'm excited to see what Dover is going to bring for these drivers. After 5 weeks of racing, let's take a look at the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series standings. So in 10th, it is Jason Maines. 9th, Peyton Howell. 8th, Derek Fulton. 7th, Brandon Gagnon. 6th, Andrew Navarro. 5th, Jared Mogard. 4th is Curtis Critchley. Now, Curtis Critchley, he has 1 win so far this season. Matt Lee, he is 3rd. Nick Sacco is 2nd. And Garrett Maines, who has the other 4 wins, he is 1st in points. Now, the playoff points after Phoenix are Garrett Maines with 24 playoff points. Curtis Critchley has 5 playoff points. Nick Sacco has 2. Brett Rawls has 2. Matt Lee has 1. And Brandon Gagnon has 1. Now, with wins already this season, Garrett Maines and Curtis Critchley are locked into the playoffs. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Now, Eric, could you tell the viewers what are you expecting out of this race tonight here at Dover?
Oh, I'm expecting some hard battles up at the front of the field. Several drivers within just a half of a tenth of each other. I expect Garrett Maines to come into it. He's a little bit behind on the pace right now, but he's going to be right near the top of the chart, winning 80% of the races so far this year. Look for him to be up front by the end.
Right. Garrett Maines has had a great season this year, and I'm excited to see what he is going to try to do here at Dover. Now, the format for tonight's race, one thing to keep in mind, this will be a familiar one for anybody that has watched a NASCAR race since the stage format has been implemented. The drivers will get 2 qualifying laps, which will determine starting position for the race. Then we are going to have a 3-stage race, just like all the NASCAR races. Stage 1 will end at lap number 50. Stage 2 will end at lap 100. And then after that, it will be a 100-lap rally to the finish. Now, the drivers in the top 10 at the end of each stage will be awarded stage points, and the winner will be awarded playoff points, and that definitely will help you in the playoffs. So we got 1 minute left in warm-up. Andrew Navarro is riding on a rail with a 22.271. He's on the top of the board. Peyton Howell only 2 thousandths off him, though, with a 22.273. And then Jason Maines with a 22.277. These drivers are only 6 thousandths apart from each other, or at least the top 3. So just from that, I can tell this is going to be a competitive race.
Yeah, absolutely. The weather is looking good. Pit stops and fuel strategy is going to come into play, I'm thinking, by the time we get done here. The stages are definitely going to give them an opportunity to take a little break and take it easy going in and out of the pits, but there's going to be a lot of action here at Dover here tonight.
Now, this action would not be possible without the 2 sponsors of Studio Displays and ComServe Wireless. Now, the first one, if you watched in the beginning, you might have saw the commercial for this company, Studio Displays. Since 1980, Studio Displays has engineered and fabricated quality exhibits, casework, and displays for museums, corporate interiors, retail environments, universities, sports facilities, airports, and public institutions all throughout the U.S. The Studio Displays team has always created out-of-the-box ideas with complex design and superior execution. For more information, visit them at studiodisplays.com. We also would like to thank ComServe Wireless for all their support. ComServe Wireless aims to provide a culture of good for its employees, customers, and throughout the communities in which they serve. ComServe Wireless has 27 Verizon Wireless locations between Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, but everyone, even if you don't live in those 3 states of Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, you can still shop at ComServeWireless.com. ComServe Wireless enhances Verizon's proven reputation as America's most reliable network with their commitment to providing the speed you need. So make sure to go help and support both Studio Displays and ComServe Wireless. And they've helped this league so much, and we thank them for all of their help and support. But now we have qualifying going on right now. Looks like Bladen Edwards, he went through for a little spin there. Got Jason Maines on the track. Andrew Navarro, he was your practice leader.
Coming down the backstretch right now, the 13th of Christopher Blanchard turning some hot laps. We're going to see what he cranks out. He's driving the Blanchard's towing truck and loses it on lap number 1.
I've seen a lot of that right now during qualifying. Many drivers are having trouble here at Dover, but Jason Rominger is the first driver to complete a lap with a 23.576. He is currently going to be your pole sitter for the moment. Of course, that is subject to change, and it is Jared Mogard in the number 2 car takes first place with a 22.407. He is going to be our leader for now, but we'll see if that changes in a couple of seconds. Anybody else going to try to beat him?
Jason Maines, fast lap on lap number 1, 23.317, coming down on the checkered flag right now to complete lap number 2. And 22.340 is going to put Jason Maines to the top of the chart.
What a lap for that number 3 of Jason Maines. I think he might be one of the drivers to watch tonight here at Rockingham, but looks like we had Billy Weeks. He is racing in this race tonight, made some contact with the wall.
Garrett Maines in truck number 1 taken to the field right now, coming down to the start-finish line. And his qualifying session, lap number 1, only at 24.71. He's going to have to turn up the wick on lap number 2.
Looks like Nicholas Sacco, he has taken the pole with a 22.323. We'll see if anybody else might try to compete with him for that. There's Curtis Critchley. He's turning some laps right now in that number 54 B Leaf Ford F-150. Let's see if he can try to get up there. He has 1 win this season. And
to the top of the chart goes Maines, putting it position number 1 with a 22.316 on lap number 2.
Elliott Sadler Esports' very own Garrett Maines. What a lap time for him, beating both his brother and Nicholas Sacco.
Fourth overall in practice, car number 0 for Matthew Lee out onto the track right now. First lap, only a 22.72. Coming into turns number 3, looking to speed it up on lap 2. Let's see what he's got.
He's right now in 7th. We'll see if he can do better.
And second overall for Matthew Lee with a 22.32, only 1/100th of a second off of the pole.
What a time for Matt Lee there. Looks like he's got his Twitch on the back of that truck, so if you want to see his perspective, check out his Twitch. But what a great time. Wasn't quite up there with Garrett Maines, but still, that'll put him on the front row for now. Jim Westerfield, Derek Fulton on the track right now for Outlaw Esports.
Westerfield first lap, 22.65, putting him 13th overall, looking to pick up the speed as he comes down the backstretch. His black and red machine's looking fast today. Truck number 35.
Ryan Kendall in the number 68 is on the track right now. We'll see if he can get up there on the board with 5 minutes left in qualifying.
The 35 of Westerfield is going to take 14th spot overall with a 22.65. Did not improve on lap number 2. Couple more guys left to finish it up. Let's see what Ryan Kendall's got.
Ryan Kendall This will be his first lap. We'll see where that puts him on the board. And that's a 22.814. That'll put him 15th behind Jim Westerfield. Let's see if he can improve on that this next lap right here.
Sitting on pit road, stage to come out next on the grid. Looks like Christopher Blanchard in the 13.
But on the track right now, Ryan Kendall, can he improve? Oh, he improved tremendously. He jumped from 15th to 11th, setting a time of 22.512 right behind Kieran Church.
So just a couple of guys left to finish up here, but still 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, potentially waiting for the temperatures to drop or the sun to shut down so they can get a little bit cooler lap. Christopher Blanchard and Jim Grady Jr. still yet to take time.
Right now we're sitting with Billy Weeks on pit road. Looks like Christopher Blanchard, he also needs to set a time. But let's talk a little bit about the track while we have a little break in the action. They don't call it the Monster Mile for nothing, and it's not just because there's a 46-foot-tall, muscle-bound statue outside the gates named Miles the Monster. I'll be looking for Miles throughout this race to see if I can see him from iRacing. But no, Dover International Speedway is a real monster of a racetrack, exactly 1 mile in length at 24 degrees. Dover has some of the most extreme banking on the NASCAR circuit. Even the straightaways are banked at 9 degrees. During a 1995 comprehensive revamp that the track was paved in concrete, giving Dover's racing surface its distinctive white appearance and the unique challenge it presents to drivers and crew chiefs. Dover is one heck of a track, might be one of my favorites on the NASCAR circuit. I'll be excited to see how these drivers are going to try to be able to conquer the track here.
Yeah, the weather today, absolutely beautiful. 76 degrees, partly cloudy. Track temperature, 116 degrees. But that's not nearly as hot as it can get in the deserts at, say, Phoenix or something of that nature, where I've seen the track temperatures upwards of 135, 140.
Of course, these drivers, it's iRacing, so they're in the air-conditioned rooms of their own home, but if you're just now tuning in, welcome to the ComServeWireless.com 200. The series is the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series as we're here in Dover, Delaware at Dover International Speedway. And Garrett Maines is looking to be on the pole tonight with a 22.317. Matthew Lee in second with a 22.322. And right behind him, only a thousandth off, is number 29, Nicholas Sacco.
Man, that's a really tough top three. How do you follow it up? You look at the speed charts. Jason Maines, Jared Mogart, Andrew Navarro, all top runners all the time, all slightly behind each other, just 100th of a second, all the way down through the chart until you get all the way down to the bottom, and it's still just a couple of tenths separating the absolute fastest from the absolute slowest. That is a tight field. It's going to be some great action here for 200 laps at Dover.
Now the race tonight is set on full tire wear and full fuel use. The drivers will have access to 6 extra sets of tires. The fuel window will be around 60 laps, and tires should last the full fuel run. Drivers tonight are running a fixed setup provided by Ryko Motorsports Performance and Paint Shop. If you're looking for a setup for or on iRacing, then make sure to check out Ryko Motorsports Performance and Paint Shop.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with one of our drivers earlier, Brandon Gagnon, and Brandon says his key to this race is just going to be patience, hanging around, making it through the stages, and then in the last 30 to 40 laps of that final 100-lap segment, it's time to put the hammer down.
Right, I think some of these drivers might be taking it calm the first stage, maybe even the second stage, And then the third stage, though, you got 100 laps, which really at a short track like Dover isn't that much time. At the same time it is, but still it's a short track, so this time is going to fly by for these drivers. It'll seem like the first stage will be done in almost 10 minutes or so. It'll seem very quick, or at least like that. But let's take a look at the starting grid for tonight's event. Oh, they're not gridded yet. Everybody needs to be on the track for the starting grid. And we are going to take a quick break while we wait to get everyone lined up. So here is a commercial from Studio Displays.
What we can do, it's like a newborn puppy. Like, I want to show you how cute we are. Come see us. Come see what we can do. You'll be amazed. My name is Kim Connolly-Wilner. I worked for Studio for almost 4 years. I project engineer, creative direction, graphic designer. Outside of Studio, I like to paint, knit, crochet. My favorite thing about working for Studio is the ability to be around like-minded people, and the work is cool. When I was first told about Studio, it was the wood shop, the metal shop, and how they can take nothing and build it. That's what I've been around my whole life, so to have the opportunity to actually work here is pretty amazing. When I came onto Studio, Tom was sort of this unicorn. So you'd hear his voice, you'd catch a glimpse of him, you just naturally wanted to be around him. This big smile. I loved to go into his office and kind of poke at him, see what he was working on, have him talk to me about past projects. I wanted to learn what he knew. This is his legacy, everything. You feel him every day. When you sit down and you're starting a new project, it really is something in the back of your mind, like, would Tom like this? Would he think this is cool? You know, he was kind of a mentor to a lot of people, so you don't want to disappoint even though he's not around us anymore.
Welcome back to coverage of the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series here at Dover International Speedway for the ComServeWireless.com 200. We are getting set for a 200 lap race. Now we finally gridded, so here is your starting lineup presented by ComServe Wireless and Studio Displays. Oh, nope, the pace car is pulling off.
And we're about to go green here. Garrett Maines and Matthew Lee coming down to green, and here we go.
And they're off here at Dover International Speedway. The engines are roaring as Garrett Maines takes an early lead here at Dover, but right behind him is Matthew Lee. We're side by side for third. Nicholas Sacco and Jason Maines. Jason Maines has the nose on the high side, but the low line is the preferred line as the 29 takes third.
Everybody running nose to tail towards the front of the pack, trying to stretch it out, put some laps down. We're now single file, first through 10th.
So these drivers, after a hectic restart, it wasn't too hectic though, these drivers have pulled in single file, and they'll keep it calm for a little bit, but of course you can only be so patient on a racetrack as these drivers want to get positions, and of course these stage points these drivers want as well, and the playoff points are very valuable for these drivers. And right now, if Garrett Maines wins stage number 1, he's going to get a playoff point and add to his his collection of stage points as he leads lap number 3.
Yeah, Maines out front. Let's take a look further back in the field as Kieran Church is in a heated battle right now with Josh Mayu for the 12th position. Too wide towards the back of the pack. The people at the back trying to make their way to the front. Great battles going on between the 0-2 of Mayu and Church.
Right now, Mayu on the high side has the nose over Church, and for now it looks like he has Kieran Church clear. Looks like a little bit of connection issues for the number 22. We'll swing back up front to Garrett Maines. Looks like from Garrett Maines to Andrew Navarro, that group of 5 cars, they're spread out from 6th place Jason Maines.
Yeah, they've started to put some distance between Mames and that second pack of cars here. We got about a half a second split between the two of those, and then it starts to spread out even further until you get back to that gaggle right at the back of the pack. Everybody kind of fighting for some position, letting the tires come up to temperature and slipping and sliding towards the back. Hopefully we don't bring out any cautions. It's early in this race, but they're starting to get it figured out, pull it back in line. The 02 of Mayu looking low currently right now on Church one more time.
And Mayu looks like he is clear right now of the 35 of Jim Westerfield in the 13th place. Let's take a look up front here to see how it looks from the view of Matthew Lee. He's chasing Garrett Maines right now, hugging that wall. Gonna dive down into the turns. No yellow line at Dover. Goes back up. And I think he might be actually catching Garrett Maines, getting up there.
Yeah, I've been watching the speed chart for the last couple of laps at the front of the pack, and Matthew Lee is hanging right there within the 1/10 to 1.5 back of Garrett Maines, just trying to ride it out, saving some tires, probably looking to make a late stage pass and score himself some of those playoff points.
Then in third, we got Nicholas Sacco, waiting for either Garrett Maines or Matthew Lee to make a mistake, and he'll try to swoop in there. But right now, this front pack of drivers looks like Jason Maines is beginning to catch the 5-car pack, and he'll join the party and try to catch up to Garrett Maines and the other front runners.
Yeah, heading up pack number 2, Brandon Gagnon. Starting off a little bit slower than normal, but that was his game plan during our pre-race interview. So we'll look to see if his strategy pays off here towards the end of this stage.
And look at that. There are only a couple of cars. Looks like Jared Mogard has passed Jason Maines for 5th as he's getting under the 42 car, or he's trying, of Andrew Navarro. See what that 00 can try and do.
Yeah, taking a look at lap times from the racing versus the qualifying, you can tell all these guys switch back to their steady race setups. Nobody dipping down into the low 22s like we saw in qualifying, hanging right around the 23s. Longevity, the key to this race.
Right. It takes a little while for the tires to break in here at Dover, and I think they finally have after 13 laps of racing. But still, one thing that hasn't changed is our leader. Garrett Maines has that truck on a rail. He's currently leading the race here at Dover, but Matthew Lee is hanging right behind him. But we do still have a battle going on. Andrew Navarro and Jared Mogard. Mogard is beginning to catch up to Navarro, and this is the battle for the 4th position.
As the battle for 4th heats up, we take a look at the most exciting action on the track right now. That's happening back around the 3rd position. Sacco and Navarro starting to tighten up. The 00. Is that the 00? Hard to tell.
The 00 is the number 2 of Jared Mogard on your ticker. It's very confusing, but here he is right here trying to catch Andrew Navarro. But as you mentioned, Navarro is beginning to catch Sacco in the 3rd position.
About a half a second separates those two, as well as a half a second now separating the leader, Garrett Maines, as he's starting to now pull away from Matthew Lee.
Right, Garrett Maines, he's had one of, if not the best car on the track today. Garrett Maines, though, does not have the fastest lap of the race, actually. the fastest lap of the race actually goes to Jared Mogard in the number 2. He has a 22.807 so far with 18 laps completed. So Garrett Maines, although he's up front, Jared Mogard actually has the fastest lap of the race, but right now he is stuck behind that 42 of Andrew Navarro. As here is Garrett Maines up front, is having a great day here at Dover.
Yeah, taking a good look through the back of the field, everybody's just running about 5 to 6 car lengths apart from each other. The best battle on the track right now, the number 7 of Derek Fulton going low right now on Peyton Howell, and he takes the spot from the number 11 Swag Machine.
Nice clean pass by Derek Fulton as he's now going to try and track down Brandon Gagnon in the number 83 in 7th.
Definitely looking like Fulton's got a setup built for around the 20 lap mark as his truck's starting to come to life.
Right, a lot of setups. It takes a certain number of laps to actually start really moving. Some drivers have a short run car. They think that these restarts, there's going to be a lot of restarts, and maybe even the finish is going to be a restart, but many drivers have a long run car in case this race takes a while, and it is. Right now we've seen 21 consecutive laps of racing here as Dover, as we are nearing that first stage break, and Garrett Maines, he's trying to win that first stage. He's got a 1 second lead over Matthew Lee. And if you are just now tuning in, welcome to the ComServeWireless.com 200. The series is the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series, and we are currently at Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware.
Yeah, we also got to throw a shout out to Swag TV, as Swag TV starting to make a name for itself here in the iRacing leagues. If you haven't gone over their Facebook page, get over there, give them a like.
And same thing on the YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so whenever we post, you're notified on whatever device you have. It helps out a ton.
Hey, and it's also a great time to ask anybody that's watching with us live now to hit that share button and broadcast our broadcast to your friends so everybody can get a good look at what Swag TV has to offer.
And so far, it's been a great race as looky here. Nicholas Sacco is catching up to Matthew Lee up front.
Yeah, something must be amiss on the Lee machine. He was running right back to the back bumper of Maines the entire first 15 laps or so, but in the last 5 or 6, he certainly found a little bit of trouble in slipping back through the pack, and now Sacco draws right to the rear bumper going into 3.
And the complete opposite has been happening to Sacco. As the race has gone by, he's been catching more and more to Matthew Lee, and here he is now knocking on the door.
Everybody's running right in that middle groove, coming low, exit out of the corners after the truck pivots, trying to save just as much tire as they can so they can push it just that little bit harder coming down to the final stretch in this first segment.
So here's what it looks like from the front end. Looking back from Matthew Lee, he's got that 29 of Nicholas Sacco right in his rear view mirror. I'm wondering what he's thinking right now.
I mean, in the back of your head, you got to realize that it is just the first stage. There's 2 more to go. There's plenty of laps left in this race, and it's most important to be there on the last lap than it is to lead early on.
Look at that on the front of the car. Swag, Smith Wraps and Graphics on the front of that 29 machine of Nicholas Sacco. If you need any wraps or graphics, virtual or in real life, make sure to check out Smith Wraps and Graphics, located in Yorktown, Virginia.
Yeah, same goes for the 04 of Matthew Lee, representing tonight's sponsors, the ComServe number 04 and Studio Displays. Cars looking sharp there, running in the number 2 spot.
Yep, look at that sweet looking car of Matt Lee. Toyota Tundra. We have a plethora, or at least 3 manufacturers, as our first lap car has been lapped. That is the, oh, nope, it is our third Jason Rominger. We have some drivers going on to pit road. Whoa. Kieran Church is going on to pit road. Billy Weeks is also on pit road.
Yeah, Garrett Maines working his way through this lap traffic, being real cautious, has allowed Matthew Lee to chisel a half of a second off of Garrett's lead. Lap traffic being really courteous here today, going plenty high, letting them through. Good job to the lap traffic.
Right, it's the respectful thing to do, and I appreciate it for the lap traffic to keep this exciting racing going. But right now, the exciting racing is for in second and third. Still, Nicholas Sacco is trying to get up there to Matthew Lee and try to make a pass for second.
A little bit further back in the field, Derek Fulton. We spoke about him earlier. He was back around the 10th position. Now all the way up into the 6th spot as he's gotten by Brandon Gagnon now. And he's got about 2.5 seconds to catch up to the next car, but he's certainly laying down some quality laps.
Right, that's the 0-0 of Jared Mogard that he needs to catch next. And 2 seconds, if Derek Fulton keeps going at the pace that he has been, he'll probably catch up to them. Of course, stage 1 at lap number 50 will be completed as that is currently nearing.
Yeah, 33 laps in the books, 17 to go until we get to the first stage. As Garrett Maines putting on a clinic start to finish, led every lap so far, stretches that lead right back out after Nicholas Sacco just getting by Matthew Lee for that number 2 spot.
And Nicholas Sacco, great pass by that number 29. I didn't catch it, but as you can see, here it is. Evidence he is now in the 2nd place. Matthew Lee is going to fall down to 3rd, but I do not believe that we have seen the end of that 0-4 of Matthew Lee.
No, for sure, but out front, Garrett Maines taking advantage of the battle for second, stretches his lead back out to 1.5 seconds, and he's got it on cruise control with not much going around him for a little while.
And Garrett Maines, honestly, he would just love if this race would keep on going, but of course, there has to be a stage, and stage number 1 is nearing, so that means that gives a chance for drivers like Nicholas Sacco or Matthew Lee or even Andrew Navarro to get back up towards Garrett Maines and try to get another chance at getting by that one car before he gets too big of a lead again.
Yeah, for sure. The one truck's been stout all day. He's got tons of clear sailing in front of him. Not really going to matter how much he stretches this lead out right now because it's all going to come to an end when they throw that caution for stage number 1.
Still feels pretty good to have clear space in front of you. Yep, not even a lap car in sight for Garrett Maines. He's just on a Sunday drive here at Dover, enjoying the scenery.
Yeah, the closest battle right now that I see on the track is a little bit further back between Peyton Howell and Brandon Gagnon. They're passing each other right now.
And Peyton Howell is going to take that 8th position as he's now trying to catch up to Brandon Gagnon in the number 83.
The 68 of Kendall looks like he was having some problems, took it way wide that last time around. Hopefully he's got that thing figured out and can point it back towards the front.
Right, he's got the sweet paint scheme right now. We'll see if he can try to catch back up to Peyton Howell after he lost a lot of ground.
Everybody running really respectfully here in this first stage. We expect to see a lot more of that in the second stage, but let me tell you, come third stage, I think it's going to be a little bit different.
I agree with you, as when Garrett Maines crosses the start-finish line, it'll be 10 laps to go for stage number 1 here at Dover, and that means Garrett Maines' 2.5 second lead will all go away, and we'll have pits and restarts.
With 10 laps to go in segment number 1, we'll give you a quick rundown of the top 10. In the number 1 spot, that's Garrett Maines in truck number 1, followed by the 29 of Nicholas Sacco, the 04 of Matthew Lee, the 42 of Andrew Navarro, and the 2 or the 00, depending on how you see it, of Jared Bogart.
Then we got 6th, the 7 of Derek Fulton. 7th is the 83 of Brandon Gagnon. 8th, the 11 of Peyton Howell. 9th is the 68 of Ryan Kendall. And rounding out your top 10 is the 54 of Curtis Critchley. And that is a rundown of the top 10. But right now, the number 1 is in the first position.
I don't think the number 1's been out of the first position for any of this event, whether it be qualifying, whether it be practice, or any lap this race so far. Gridded up in the number 1 spot, running the number 1 spot, running the number 1 on the truck. I think he's trying to tell you something. What do you say?
Now, if you do remember, though, during practice, Andrew Navarro set the fastest lap in practice. Andrew Navarro still has a fast car. He is in the 4th position. He is catching up to Matthew Lee, actually. So he has the fast car that he did in practice, but Garrett Maines has the faster one. He's beginning to catch up to some lap traffic. Here's the first driver that he is going to need to work around. That's Christopher Blanchard.
Yeah, the Smithfield number 1 carving his way through the lap traffic. He's got 2 or 3 more cars that he's probably going to run into by the time this stage comes to an end, but still trucking through them all pretty good. Stretched his lead out to 3.3 seconds so far, and he's not looking back.
5 laps to go until the end of stage number 1. He goes down below the 15 of Jason Rominger, put him 2 laps down. Now he's catching up to Jim Westerfield in the 35.
It's time to take a look at the battle for that 3rd spot, as Andrew Navarro has now caught the 04 of Matthew Lee, and he's looking low going down into the corner.
Andrew Navarro in the number 42 is trying to get by Matthew Lee. Has a fast car, but Matthew Lee is still clear of Andrew Navarro.
Well, about half a lap ago, Navarro was looking down low, and Matt shut the door. Navarro didn't seem like he was very happy, as immediately his chat button lit up on the track, probably letting Matt know, I was there, man. I had to give you a good lift. Next time might not be so friendly, as he's coming down the backstretch, peaking low one more time.
Let's see if he can try to make this pass again, giving that number 04 a little bump. He goes low,
off of 4.
side by side.
Down to the bottom of the track, it looks like he's going to complete the pass. He's going to use the lap car as a semi-pick, and away he goes.
What a nice, clean pass by the number 42 of Andrew Navarro. As this time by, I think we'll have 2 to go before the end of this stage.
Did you just see Navarro split the lap traffic as he was navigating his way through? That was amazing.
And Navarro, even though he was first in practice, didn't quite get up there in qualifying. He's now in 3rd. And I think on this next restart, keep an eye out for that number 42. 1 lap to go before the end of the stage. Garrett Maines has had one heck of a run so far in that number 1 machine.
No doubt about that. As the caution flag flies, 5-second lead for Garrett Maines after stage number 1 coming to a close. Now it's 0.
So we'll see. After 51 laps, these tires are most likely pretty worn on these trucks. But right now we are going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be back to cover pit stops. So here you go.
Studio displays to any company that participates in trade shows. Sometimes it's hard to find a partner that truly sees your vision, and so working with Studio Displays, they were able to take my vision and magnify it even more to set our brand apart in the marketplace. want to set ourselves apart from our competition, and so we didn't want a traditional trade show booth. So we came to Studio Displays with a challenge, and they raised the bar. They exceeded my expectations, and I would recommend them to anybody.
4, 3, 2. Welcome back to Swag TV. As we got Garrett Maines, he wins the race off of pit road. Nicholas Sacco, Andrew Navarro, Matthew Lee. Then here comes the 68 of Ryan Kendall. Then we got the 02, 7 of Derek Fulton.
Yeah, it looked like pretty clean pit stops there for just about everybody. There's not much of a shake-up on the speed chart, although it looks like Derek Fulton's going to creep out there in the 5th spot. That's as high as he's been as he started a little bit further back.
But Garrett Maines, he wins the race off of pit road, which means that he will continue to stay in the 1st position. But Nicholas Sacco, he will be starting on the outside of him.
Yeah, Andrew Navarro's going to come out 3rd. He's going to restart in that number 3 spot and to the outside in the 4th spot, the number 04 of Matthew Lee.
So pretty much how we started 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be how we're going to restart for stage number 2.
Looks like we may have some people that didn't pit. Does that look true?
Everybody on the track has gone on to pit road right now, so everyone from Garrett Maines all the way down to Jason Rominger have all got some fuel and some fresh duds for their tires.
Listening to the driver chat here during this caution break, everybody's seeming pretty happy with the setups here today. Everybody's congratulating each other for a nice clean run and hoping for some more of that here in stage number 2.
But the top 10 as we restart is going to be Garrett Maines starting 1st, Nicholas Sacco 2nd, Andrew Navarro 3rd, Matthew Lee 4th, Ryan Kendall is going to be starting 5th, Jason Mayu 6th, Jared Mogard 7th, Derek Fulton 8th, Curtis Critchley 9th, and rounding out your top 10 will be Peyton Howe.
12 cars still on the lead lap with the first car 1 lap down, showing to be the 3 truck of Jason Maines. Got a pair of trucks sitting at 2 laps back of Christopher Blanchard and Jason Rominger, and a couple of guys that retired real early on lap 25. Kieran Church and Billy Weeks. Looks like the lights are down on the pace car. We're getting ready to go green.
Let's see if anybody has anything for Garrett Maines in that one car.
He's certainly been stout, and restarts are his specialty. Let's see what he's got as we're looking for green.
As we restart, as we have stage 2 starting here at Dover International Speedway. Garrett Maines gets an early lead. Andrew Navarro makes the pass for 2nd. That means Nicholas Sacco will fall into 3rd, and Matthew Lee remains in the 5th position. We all go single file for the most part.
First pair double file back was just straightening it out now. We are 100% single file all the way around. It takes 3-4 laps at least before the drivers can get comfortable with this tire setup. Once they do, that's when they start putting a little pressure on.
Right, it looks like Andrew Navarro is sticking up there with Garrett Maines. I wonder if he'll have anything for him during stage number 2. And I also, he goes low, but caution's out.
Caution on the field, first one.
So we'll see if we can find this replay. Looks to be the 15 of Jason Rominger. Here is the replay. So we got the 3 car of Jason Maines trying to make a pass on him. He moves up. Looks like the 15 makes contact with the wall. Now the 3 car moves up into the 15 car. And both of them go sideways. Let's see this replay one more time from up in the air in the chopper. So the 13 almost making a tap. 15 drags the wall. Looks like actually the 15 moves down onto the 3 car of Jason Maines. Both of them go sliding. Nobody else was involved in this one.
Yeah, no, it was just hard racing there. The white truck all the way up against the outside wall, trying to give room because he knows that he's multiple laps down, and got up into it, bounced off it a couple times, and it gave him a really squirrely entry going down in the corner. At the same time, Jason Maines was trying to get by, just not a good spot to be in when the other driver was that far out of shape.
Luckily, nobody else was involved in that wreck, but that is going to be our first caution of the event tonight.
"58 laps complete before the first caution." That's a pretty good run in iRacing standards. Garrett Maines still showing the way in truck number 1. Andrew Navarro on that restart got up to the number 2 spot, and that's where he's holding strong. And Sacco rounding out your top 3.
So let's take this time with the break to talk about ComServe Wireless. ComServe Wireless aims to provide a culture of good for its employees, customers, and throughout the communities in which they serve. ComServe Wireless has 27 Verizon Wireless locations between Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, but everyone, even if you don't live in those 3 states, can shop at ComServeWireless.com. ComServe Wireless enhances Verizon's proven reputation as America's most reliable network with their commitment to providing the speed you need. So if you need anything Verizon relating, then make sure to go and check out ComServe Wireless, whether it's one of their locations in Virginia, Delaware, Pennsylvania, or online at ComServeWireless.com. And ComServe Wireless is the sponsor for tonight's race. It's called the ComServeWireless.com 200 at Dover International Speedway. It's the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series. Garrett Maines right now is your leader.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic event here so far. We got to thank all of our awesome sponsors. If you get a chance to jump onto any of their social media platforms, give them a like, give them a share, check out what's going on, and potentially get yourself a discount on any of the great things that you might need. And if you're still with us here on this broadcast, if you haven't hit that share button down in the bottom corner of your media platform, that would be absolutely fantastic to do so at this time. Share the experience, share the racing, share the love that we all have for this passionate sport.
Right, and if you haven't already, if you're a racing fan and you want to get into iRacing, it's only $15.99. It's a monthly subscription, and it's great for, of course, Christmas time is coming around. So if you know anybody that loves racing, iRacing makes a great Christmas gift.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of different products on the market to get yourself invested into this and get yourself on the track and check it out. There's equipment for budgets of all, and it's all kinds of fun.
Let's focus on what's going in iRacing right now at the virtual Dover International Speedway. Here we go. Garrett Maines, Andrew Navarro, as we are restarting for the 3rd time. Andrew Navarro gets an early lead. Let's see if Nicholas Sacco can have anything for Andrew Navarro. Andrew Navarro, he's going to pull into 3rd. Sacco, he makes it by the 04 of Matthew Lee, but here comes the 00 of Jared Mogard. Matthew Lee, though, he is going to clear him. as we are pretty much single file all throughout the field now.
Yeah, not too much double file action this early on in the event there. The 04 of Matthew Lee really ripped it hard from the outside line down to protect that spot and retain his number 4 position over the number 00 of Jared Mogard. See if he can hold on to that as this run goes off. As Navarro now making a move for the front.
The 29 of Nicholas Sacco also taking second. Whoa! New leader here at Dover, Andrew Navarro. Garrett Maines falls all the way down to third.
Something's got to be amiss on the Garrett Maines machine, because we haven't seen him be off the pace like that this entire event. Navarro starting to stretch out that lead.
Tires. We've only thing we've been doing really has been pacing, so the tires still might be a little bit cold for that one car of Garrett Maines, but definitely not for that 42 car of Andrew Navarro. He flies right by the one car of Garrett Maines. Nicholas Sacco, he's going to fall behind him in P2. Andrew Navarro is going to be the first driver this race, not named Garrett Maines, to lead a lap.
Yeah, he was a leader earlier, though, led that practice session, and I think from watching the practice session, he only did just a handful of laps to put himself on top of the leaderboard. I gotta imagine he's been practicing this track quite a bit this week.
Right, before a series race like the PMI Pavement Truck Series, definitely want to try to practice the track and get it so you can turn laps almost like you have your eyes closed, and Andrew Navarro is doing just that. He's got a 2-second lead over Nicholas Sacco. It's safe, but still not safe enough. Nicholas Sacco is still right there waiting for the 43 car of Andrew Navarro to make a mistake. I'm not sure if he will, though.
Yeah, there's some action starting to heat up for that number 4 spot. Of the 04 of Matthew Lee has been under hot contest from Jared Mogard. He's actually been holding up that pack a little bit. They had to check up here just a little while ago. All 3 of the cars behind Lee were looking to get by.
So let's see what that 00 or 2, whatever you consider him, let's see what he can do right now. He's right behind the 04 of Matthew Lee. No contact yet.
Yet the 7 of Derek Fulton. Your hard charger of the race so far started way back in the 14th position. He's up 8 spots, riding in 6th overall. Just waiting for a little bit of action in front of him to happen, and he's going to climb right up into the top 5.
That's impressive, starting all the way up in 14th, and now looky here where he is. He's in the 6th position. If the 04 and the 00 of Jared Mogard hold each other up, be looking for that 7 car to maybe try to make a pass on both of them.
Yeah, right now I think he's saving a little bit of tire as the number 02 of Josh Mayu is now drawn up to his back bumper. Everybody's still shaking and jiving. It's only stage number 2. There's plenty of laps left to go. They're trying to race everybody, feel what everybody's strengths are, who's best off 2, who's best off 4, where's a good spot to pass, who runs high, who runs low, because you're going to need to know all of that information come the end of the 3rd 100-lap segment.
Right, again, these drivers are still not quite as aggressive as they would be during the 3rd stage, but I feel like during stage number 3, we're going to see a lot more taking than giving here at Dover. But right now, a tight battle for P4. Matthew Lee and the 00 of Jared Mogard.
There's a great battle there. There's also a pretty good battle towards the back of the pack as Brandon Gagnon, Ryan Kendall, Peyton Howell are all bunched up towards the back. Kendall's been looking low on Gagnon here for the last couple of laps.
See if Kendall's going to have anything for Brandon Gagnon behind them. Got the 11 of Peyton Howell. Peyton Howell goes low! And he's going to clear the 68 of Ryan Kendall.
Following in his tracks, the 3 of Jason Maines. He's gotten himself a lap down here early on. He's the first person a lap down. He's hoping potentially to catch a caution that he's not involved with, hoping that that lucky dog can be his and get him back on the lead lap.
Looking back up front, Andrew Navarro, he's still in the lead, but Nicholas Sacco is hot on his heels in that number 29 car.
Navarro stretched it out to about a half a second lead over his course of the race, but right now Sacco is all over him. He's looking low, and there's not a piece of paper between their bumpers.
You could put a blanket over those two cars. Sacco, he's going to look low, stay on that bumper.
Yeah, a couple of different variants of the line as Navarro enters in a little bit higher, lets it roll down to the bottom in the center of the corner, whereas the 29 of Sacco drives it in deep, trying to wedge that fender into the quarter panel and get himself a pry bar out to get him the lead.
In the line that the 42 of Andrew Navarro is running, I feel like maybe if Andrew Navarro hadn't have been running the line that he's running, Nicholas Sacco might already be by him, but look who's joining the party. The one car of Garrett Maines lost the lead. He's coming back to try to regain the lead. 29 goes low.
Battle for the lead. The 29 of Sacco's got the bottom of the track, and he's looking forward to the P1 position as a three-wide battle for the lead.
Whoa, you don't see that every day. Navarro falls down to third, and look who's back in position. Number 1, Garrett Maines retakes the lead here at Dover.
Lap number 78 was a beauty for the top 3 as Garrett Maines must have been sitting back just a little bit, saving that tire, because he's got himself that number 1 spot back. He's gapped the second place car by a couple of tenths, and back to third goes Andrew Navarro, who quite frankly probably beat up his tires early on in that race to get himself the lead, and he's going to suffer the consequences of doing that now as the number 04 of Matthew Lee starting to crouch on his back bumper now.
Ooh, we'll see if Matthew Lee can try to get by for the third position. He's been staying in that fourth position for a while now.
After all the excitement, starting to stabilize a little bit on the track. Sacco catching back up, staying right there about 2 tenths off the back bumper of Garrett Maines. Navarro seeming to pull a couple lengths back on the 04 of Matthew Lee, and Derek Fulton up to the number 5 spot. He's cracked the top 5, started 14th overall, truck number 7 coming to the front.
Nicholas Sacco, he is staying right behind that one car of Garrett Maines, but as you mentioned, the 7 car of Derek Fulton has done a task that most drivers don't have to do. Garrett Maines started on the pole and he's still in first place, but look who has been making positions while Garrett Maines has only fallen down to third. Derek Fulton has been working his way up to the field. He's in the 5th position, but right now he is under attack by the 00 of Jared Mogard, who's trying to get by him and retake 5th.
Top 6 all stretched out in a single file line, a couple of car lengths between each of them. All the way back through the field. Not a whole heck of a lot of action going on right now as we're in the middle stages of this second stage, but towards the back, the 68 of Ryan Kendall and the 11 of Peyton Howell have been beating and banging on each other just a little bit, with Howell coming out on top and Kendall now looking to get back by him. Swap positions about 3 times in the last 6 laps.
Looks like Howell has a ton of front end damage. Let's take a look at that. Yes, definitely a lot of damage on that number 11 car. Hopefully it doesn't affect him too much as he's currently in the top 10, but Ryan Kendall, he's chasing him.
Yeah, back and forth back there has allowed the 83 of Brandon Gagnon to kind of pull away from that battle, separate himself. He's running in good clean air with nothing around him. Everybody running good laps. Jim Westerfield now up to the 8th spot. He started deep in the field too, I believe. He started around the 15th position. So +7 on the board for the 35 of Westerfield.
Love to see some storylines where drivers start back in the pack and begin to make their way up to the field, and that's exactly what Westerfield is doing in that number 35 machine. He is trying to track down the 02 of Josh Mayu, who is currently 3 seconds ahead of him.
Person in the best position on the track right now, looking at the yellow flag coming out here in about 15 laps, is going to be the 3 of Jason Maines. Jason is your first car, 1 lap down, and he's got plenty of room between him and the next car back of Christopher Blanchard. He's looking for that lucky dog here as we wind down the final stages of stage number 2.
Yeah, probably one of the only drivers that is hoping for a caution right now. Of course, he doesn't want the caution to involve him, but he wants a caution, and if he's patient, he'll get one at lap number 100 when the yellow flag waves to indicate that stage 2 is over.
Back up front, Garrett Maines, 3/10 of a lead over Nicholas Sacco, but Navarro and Lee starting to creep back into the picture of that hunt for the number 1 spot.
Right, Navarro fell down 2 positions a little bit earlier in this race, and he's trying to get back by Sacco and Garrett Maines to retake the first position, but right now he's under attack by the 04 of Matthew Lee.
Yeah, right behind the 04 of Matthew Lee, that's that 7 of Derek Fulton. He's run a really, really smart race, methodically picked his way to the front, not putting too much pressure on himself to make some foolish mistakes. He's in a comfortable little pocket right now, and he's just watching these guys do battle for third.
Here comes Matthew Lee. He's going to take the 3rd position and get into the top 3 here at Dover International Speedway. Andrew Navarro is going to fall to P4 here.
Hundredths of a second separate the 29 of Nicholas Sacco and Garrett Maines every single lap. Garrett wins by 100th. Nicholas takes it back by 100th. Current gap right now, 1/4 of a second between the 1 and the 29.
Right, Nicholas Sacco, he hasn't let Garrett Maines run away with this one. He stayed under 3/10 for a while now behind Garrett Maines as he stayed in contention, trying to get that lead that hasn't been his for this entire race. Got some lap traffic right here. He's going to go high, the respectful thing to do. Oh, near contact.
The 15, that is Jason Rominger. He has been in this position at the end of the last stage, so hopefully he's getting good at getting out of the way.
It was on the exit of 4. I think when he was falling back down, he had a near miss of the 29. Luckily, no caution has come out. We are continuing to race, but that definitely hurt the 29 of Nicholas Sacco. He went from being 2/10 behind Garrett Maines to now 5/10 behind him.
Yeah, with only 5 laps to go before the end of this second stage, Maines looking to take all those playoff points once again.
Looks like someone has retired onto pit road. Hasn't had the race that he wanted today. Christopher Blanchard in the number 13. The cards have been against him all day today as he pulls in to retire for today.
Now, the person that's probably happy to see him hit pit road was the number 3 of Jason Maines, as that puts him the only car 1 lap down and pretty much solidifies his chance of getting that lucky dog at the next caution.
Right, Jason Maines, he is getting very excited for this caution to come out, which means he can finally be back on the lead lap and finally be back into contention for this race, maybe try to get into the top 10. He's only in 13th. That's 3 positions that he needs. That's 3 cars that he needs to pass. It's very doable to get into the top 10 for Jason Maines and maybe even more.
19 cars took time on the speedway here today. We're down to 12 on the lead lap. A couple of guys just slightly off of that pace, and 3 guys retired in the pits. Right now, I'm taking a look at the 7 of Derek Fulton. He's pulled within a couple of tenths of the 42 of Navarro as we work down towards the end of lap 99.
Right, will we see Derek Fulton make a pass before the end of the stage? I am not sure. He has had a great run, started in P14 and has made his way all the way up to 5th, trying to get to 4th.
Out front, the one of Garrett Maines getting ready to see that yellow flag.
This has been another great stage for Garrett Maines. Did have his lead taken away for a little bit, but he is finally retaking that lead.
0.6 of a second, the gap between him and the second place car of Nicholas Sacco. That puts his total combined lead for stage 1 and 2 up to 5.7 seconds.
So this has been a great race so far by Garrett Maines, but not to be outdone are the rest of the top 4. Nicholas Sacco has been in second for majority of this race, waiting for somebody to make a mistake. Hasn't happened yet. We'll see what he can do in stage number 3. Matthew Lee has had a very stout car, and Andrew Navarro, he has led a couple of laps tonight.
Yeah, a couple of bonus points getting passed around between both Maines and Navarro as the yellow flag has come out to complete stage number 2. Pit stops, tire changes, fuel strategy. Anybody going to make some time up on pit road this time by? We're about to see.
Now we are going to take a quick break to catch our breath, and we are going to be back soon for coverage of stage number 3.
An exhibit fabricator for Studio Displays. I've worked for Studio for about 8 or 9 years. I had a friend who worked here. I was already a carpenter, and he sent me to talk to Tom, and here I am now. When it comes to working at Studio, I enjoy the diversity of the projects that I get to work on. It may be a cabinet for a corporate interior one day and a 10-foot tall carrot carved out of foam the next day. Studio Displays nurtures creativity, so they encourage you to work on things that are outside of your scope of work on your own time. I'm a bladesmith outside of the studio. I make knives, forged, hand-forged, or stock removal process, either one, from start to finish. And I think the skills that I've learned here over the last 8 or 9 years have made it to where I can be successful doing the hobby that I like. I think with the experience and the talent that we have at Studio combined, you're looking at things from different directions where other people may not. I think Tom Pope's legacy is going to last for a long time at Studio. He has dedicated employees. He has family that are here to ensure that it keeps going.
Welcome back, everyone, to Swag TV for coverage of the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series. ComServeWireless.com 200 at Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. We are getting set for stage number 3. Garrett Maines won the race off of pit road. Look who slipped into second. 04 of Matthew Lee. Then Nicholas Sacco is in third. Andrew Navarro 4th. And Derek Fulton 5th.
Starting this last segment in the number 6 spot.
Remember, one thing to keep in mind, these drivers will have to pit during this stage, whether there is a caution or not. So
yeah,
it might be pretty exciting to see green flag pit stops happen, and maybe the rankings could be switched up.
For sure, you never know if anybody's going to take just 2
But
tires
I'm
to try
excited
to
to
shake
see
it up.
what Matthew Lee is going to be able to do in that second spot. He hasn't been that far up in a while, so I'm excited to see if he can take advantage of that.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's been a great battle at the front of the field all race long between about the top 5 of these guys. I'm really looking forward to see if Derek Fulton's been saving something for the end of this one. He's my guy to watch. We're stacked up double file here as we're looking at lights down on the pace car, getting ready to go green for this final 100 laps.
Garrett Maines, Matthew Lee, Nicholas Sacco, Andrew Navarro, Derek Fulton. Who will win? Will it be someone else that I didn't name? I don't know. That's the great part of racing, the unpredictableness of the sport. And we'll see it all come down on the line here at Dover.
13 cars back on the lead lap as the number 3 of Jason Maines gets that lucky dog during that caution cycle. Maybe it's him. Maybe he's been just hanging out waiting for the opportunity, and he's got 100 laps to march to the front.
Here we go. It's all on the pace car, and then it'll be all on the flagman. Pace car is in. Now let's see.
Really slow restart. Maines setting the pace, and he's off.
And green flag is back out. Get ready for stage number 3 here at Dover. We got Andrew Navarro pulling into 3rd. Nicholas Sacco is going to be 4th. And Jared Mogard is going to take 5th, but Garrett Maines is going to stay out front. Matthew Lee in 2nd. And then we got Andrew Navarro and Nicholas Sacco in 3 and 4. Jared Mogard in 5th.
Derek Fulton falling back down to the 6th spot. And somebody we haven't talked about much today, the 54 of Curtis Critchley. I believe he is the only other winner in this series so far this year. So maybe the 54 has just been playing possum for the last 100 laps.
Looks like he's going to get passed by both Brandon Gagnon, Peyton Howell, and the 02 of Josh Mayu, so not sure what's going on with that 54 car.
Looked like he got a little bit out of shape coming off that last corner. Might have lost the rear end just a little bit. Decided to back off the throttle, let everybody get by, and hopefully sort it out and make a march back towards the front.
Ryan Kendall, he's going to make it by him, and he's going to fall out of the top 10. Just a second ago, he was in 7th place.
Brandon Gagnon now making a move back up towards the front. He's in the 83 truck. Haven't seen him towards the front yet.
Right, he's in the 6th position trying to take 5th from Jared Mogard. He has had a great car since the restart. Who knows, he may have a short run car and he's taking advantage of that here. He goes low under Jared Mogard, trying to make the pass for 5th. He has the nose.
He completes that pass on Mogard, and the 11 of Howell follows him through the hole. Gagnon, is it too much too early? Is he not saving enough tire? Is he not saving enough gas? We're going to have to wait till the pit stops to find that out.
Yes, remember, green flag pit stops are going to be happening this stage. Fuel window is about 60 laps, so just keep that in mind in the back of your head. But right now, let's focus on the racing at hand. Brandon Gagnon is going to pass Nicholas Sacco for 4th. He's going to take that 4th position.
Little bit of bump and run right here going on between Peyton Howell and Sacco.
Howell has the nose as they cross the start-finish line.
Sacco doing a good job up on that upper line.
Clear.
Running nice and smooth, but the 11 on that bottom line just too strong. Howell takes the position.
And Sacco, he's going to fall into P number 6.
So things starting to shake up a little bit. We're seeing some different faces hanging around towards the top 5 for this second segment. Just like the pre-race interview was said, you never know what's going to happen, and you just got to make it to the end. So look for some heavy action, potentially some more cautions as we work through.
So Brandon Gagnon, he's now going to pull into the 3rd position. Sacco is going to try to pass Peyton Howell back for that 5th position. And he's going to take it for now.
Power slide block he tried to throw, and he is all over the track right now. Howell up into that outside groove, and that lets Mogard get by.
great blocks from that 29 of Nicholas Sacco. A lot of times racing is considered an offensive sport, but a lot of times you got to play some good defense if you want to have a great offensive race.
Yeah, and Sacco definitely on the offensive charge right now as he's drawn up to the back bumper of Navarro. He's peeking low down the back stretch into the corner, and he's going to stuff it. Not going to fit this time by.
Sacco tried to make the pass, couldn't quite get it. Will he try to do it in 3 and 4?
The entire race, Navarro's been running that high entry down into the corner, which allows him to get up off that corner with a little bit more speed than the guy that drives it down low. But there's a good dive right there. Sacco getting forced to the outside. Mogard's coming through.
What a move by the 0-0 of Mogard, but we got a pass for third. Andrew Navarro is trying to get by Brandon Gagnon. Gagnon is going to clear him again.
The racing action starting to heat up here, 20 laps deep into segment number 3.
Can anybody have anything for Garrett Maines? That'll be the question for today.
Had some contact towards the back of the pack. That's going to force Peyton Howell to drop down to the apron, and he might be headed for pits.
Peyton Howell heads on to pit road. I saw that accident in the corner of my eye. Looks like he's going to go down on pit road. Who knows? This could give him a jump on fuel and tires, though.
Yeah, everybody's got a pit. Nobody says when you got a pit, so potentially he's going to take this opportunity to play a little track position. Maybe it pays off in the end. We'll see.
Of course it wasn't planned, but who knows? It could be the benefit of him winning the race. But right now we got a battle for the 4th position. Jared Mogard is going to take it from Andrew Navarro.
There's been a whole lot of movement around this number 4 spot as Sacco now drives low on Navarro. Navarro pulls high, lets him go, tucks it back in line, cuts off Fulton.
What a great, nice, clean pass by Sacco. He's going to pull into the 5th position and into the top 5. We've seen a lot more movement than we have the first 2 stages.
Yeah, we've seen all kinds of heated action, and for just about every position. The one position that hasn't seen much heat yet, though, that's the number 1 spot. Garrett Maines has got that baby on lock. You know what else should be on lock right now? Your finger. Lock to that share button. The broadcast is just going to get better from here on out. Everybody, push that share button, and let's see a great end to this 200-lap event here at Dover International.
Here we go. Garrett Maines in the 1st position. Let's get a quick rundown of the field as it is. Garrett Maines in 1st. Matthew Lee 2nd. Brandon Gagnon 3rd. Jared Mogard 4th. Nicholas Sacco rounding out your top 5. Andrew Navarro in 6th. Derek Fulton in 7th. Rounding out your top 8 is the 0-2 of Josh Mayu. 9th is the 54 of Curtis Critchley, and rounding out your top 10 is the 68 of Ryan Kendall.
In the 11th spot, the number 3 of Jason Maines back on the lead lap. Following him, the 35 of Jim Westerfield. Peyton Howell, after having to take that pit stop, starting to charge his way back to the front. He's got a little bit of speed right now because he's got that fresh equipment. He's putting pressure on these leaders. That's a little disrespectful where I come from.
I just now noticed this. Looks like Billy Weeks, he had been on pit road for 73 laps. Now he's pulling back onto the track here.
Well, maybe he thinks he can finish another 40 laps and get past the number 13 of Christopher Blanchard and pick up just another championship point. Certainly enough time left to do that.
Looks like Peyton Howell is about to get one of his laps back. He's side by side with Garrett Maines, and he clears them. Peyton Howell is now 1 lap down.
Well, like we said earlier, this strategy may pay off for him. He's got his 1 lap back, so that means if we have a caution, he'll be right back on the tail end of the lead lap, and he'll be able to mix it up with these guys again.
Right, if he wins, he could credit that pit stop, even though it wasn't planned. He could credit that as the winning move that put him in P1. But for now, the 1 car of Garrett Maines is in the first position.
0.4 of a second is the gap between him and the 0.4 of Matthew Lee. Closest battle on the track right now looks to be for the number 6 spot between Fulton and Mogard.
Fulton is trying to get up into the top 5. He was there for a little while during this race, but we got a pass going on. The 29 of Sacco, he is going to move into the 3rd position. We got a car around, and they save it.
Whew. That was a great save there as the number 2 of Mogard gets into the corner pedal of the 83 of Gagnon. They're still all bottlenecked up as they work their way through the middle of the corner, 2 by 2.
Gagnon is going to remain in 4th, but who's going to be in the 5th spot? Derek Fulton is going to take the 5th spot. Andrew Navarro is going to move to 6th, and Mogard is going to move down to 7th.
We got another car hitting pit road. That looked like the 54 of Critchley as he got some strategy in mind.
Interesting. Could this be the winning move for Curtis Critchley going into the pits earlier than some of the others? He's going to get some damage fixed on that car, some fuel, and some tires.
You know, as these guys are working into this 3rd segment, one thing we got to recognize is they're all pushing it a little bit harder right now. And when you push them harder, the tires wear out a little faster. You use a little bit more fuel, and they get a little bit squirrely here towards the middle and the end of a run. And that's exactly what we're seeing in the mid-pack. Here's Gagnon. Probably wore out the rear tires on that last exchange, and he's falling back.
Brandon Gagnon, he's fell all the way down to the 9th position. It seemed like a second ago he was in the 4th position.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Gagnon thinking about pit road, as obviously the handle gone away from that truck.
We'll see if he does it this time by. And nope, he's going to stay on track in the 9th position.
54 of Critchley rejoining the field after his pit stop. He's in that 2 laps down position. He is not close enough to the leader. He's going to have to race real hard if he's thinking he's going to get one back by racing.
Looks like Curtis Critchley has pulled back down onto pit road. I am not sure what has happened to that 54. Maybe he might need a little bit more damage fixed.
Maybe they left the lug nuts loose.
Definitely something that could have happened. As a Martin Truex Jr. fan, I know how that feels.
Back at the front of the pack, though, Matthew Lee reeling in the leader. Now only 0.2 of a second from him up to the number 1 of Maines. This is the closest battle we've had for the number 1 spot in several laps. Matthew Lee putting some pressure on him. Maines, great exit to turn number 2 down the backstretch.
Yeah, Matthew Lee, he's had a fast car all race. I don't know if he's been holding it in, but he is up there competing for the lead. Only 0.2 off the leader.
Taking the number 10th spot, the truck number 3 of Jason Maines. He was a lap down earlier, riding around the back of the pack. Got that lucky dog, and here he is cracking the top 10 for the first time since the first stage.
And as he's on the top 10, Jason Maines, he is on pit road. He's going to get some damage on that truck fixed, maybe some fuel and some tires.
Lap after lap at the front of the field, Maines and Lee. Almost identical lap times as they travel around this circuit. Averaging about 23.5 seconds right now. That's about a second and a half slower than their qualifying speed.
Right, and as these tires wear, the times are just going to keep on getting slower and slower and slower here at Dover.
Race control reporting pit road issues for Curtis Critchley, resulting in 2 stop-and-go penalties. Not just 1, 2 stop-and-go penalties. That's going to put a crunch on Critchley's run for the win here today.
Ouch, that has to hurt for that 54 of Curtis Critchley. He's 7 laps down as it is now. With all these stop-and-go penalties, he might be even more laps down after it's all said and done.
Looks like the green flag pit stops costing the drivers about 2 laps. Both Brandon Gagnon and Jason Maines and Peyton Howell all back down pit road, all 2 laps down. Westerfield only 1 lap down right now, but I think he's in the pits right at this time. At the front of the field,
Now
Garrett Maines.
Gagnon's going to go back to 1 lap down. He makes his way by Garrett Maines.
Lots of green flag pit stops cycling through right now. We got to wonder, when is the one going to hit pit road?
Garrett Maines, he's been out front for a while now, and he has to come in soon. Doesn't have to come in right now. Might want to try to stay out a little bit longer, but he doesn't want the fuel to run out. Uh-oh, looks like we've had a driver manually disconnect. Peyton Howell has retired for tonight.
Peyton Howell had some problems here in the early stages, compounded it up with some pit stop problems, and now out of the race.
Disappointing.
Tough break.
Definitely very disappointing for that number 11. Had a great car all throughout this race. Got into the top 10 for a little while, but in the end, disappointing to see that he has manually disconnected.
Last lap by Garrett Maines, 24.58. Matthew Lee, 24.51, as they just continue to go back and forth lap after lap. Take an inch, give an inch. That's all he's got. Now looking into this picture after his pit stop, Jason Maines blows by the 04 of Matthew Lee, puts it on the floorboard and just drives right by your leader.
And Jason Maines is going to he's going to get his lap back. It's still going to put him 1 lap down, but still, that's a step in the right direction for that 3 car if he wants to try to win this race. If he passes that 1 car one more time, he'll be back on the lead lap and back into contention for the win.
We're on lap 148 of 200. We started this last segment at about 105. Puts the pit window anywhere between lap 155 and 165. So the leader, Garrett Maines, and second place, Matthew Lee, those guys have got to be thinking about it. You think they're going to work together, or you think they're going to pit off cycle?
Both on different teams, but both of them are in the same Discord channel, so they might be coordinating some things with each other. I don't know. They're both in the same position, P1 and P2. Both up front have been 1 and 2 for a while now, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did a coordination pit stop.
You know, the best thing Matthew Lee could do would be to drive it right up to that pit road entrance line, coming down on his speed right at pit road speed and making up that 0.5 of a second as they dive in for their green flag stops.
Still, the question is when for Garrett Maines and Matthew Lee. When are they going to go down onto pit road? That is the question.
Well, we know with the tire model here on these trucks, the later that they can run it, the fresher they'll be towards the end, and everybody that's taken tires early on in this one already, they're going to be sitting ducks, and they know that. So as long as they can stay out front, and as long as they can keep fuel in the tank, they're going to keep riding on these tires because they know it's just going to make them that much stronger for the last 25, 30 laps.
Here comes the 35 of Jim Westerfield. He's going to try to get that Chevrolet Silverado now 1 lap down and he does now. If he can just pass that one car of Garrett Maines one more time, he will be back on the lead lap and back into contention for the win.
That shows you the difference in having a new set of tires and running on an old set right there. The number 11 place car on the track goes blowing by the leader on the outside. Still that same half a second separating Garrett Maines and Matthew Lee at the front of this field. A little bit further back, the 29 of Nicholas Sacco. He hits down pit road. Derek Fulton now up to the 3rd spot.
This has been the highest he's been all day. Derek Fulton started in the 14th position, and now look where he is. He definitely deserves that Hard Charger award.
No doubt about that. And you know what he'd appreciate for a Hard Charge award right about now? He'd appreciate a yellow flag. Yellow flag would dissipate that 6.7 seconds of fallback that he's encountered in his racing. And he'd be loving a shot at the top 3 from the number 3 spot.
Right, that's something that 7 car of Derek Fulton would really love to see. But right now, still 6.8 seconds is the gap between him and Garrett Maines and Matthew Lee still. When are they going to go down onto pit road? That is the question.
They're going to go right to the bitter end, I'm betting, because they want those fresh tires for those final laps. 0.6 of a second now the gap between 1st and 2nd. Maines starting to pull it out just a little bit more.
Looks like we have another driver trying to get his lap back. Let's see who that is. It's the 29 of Nicholas Sacco.
Yep, Nicholas completed his pit stops, comes out right behind the leaders. He's going to cruise right by Garrett Maines here in just a second, get that lap back, and he'll be one of the tail enders that are just 1 lap down. The first car 1 lap down happens to be the 6th place truck of Brandon Gagnon in the 83. So the top 5 still have yet to pit. That's Garrett Maines, Matthew Lee, Derek Fulton, Andrew Navarro, and Jared Mogard, your top 5.
So the question is, when for these drivers, when are they going to go down onto pit road, get some fresh tires and some fuel?
Coming into the practice session earlier, I was listening to, I believe it was Matthew Lee and Brandon Gagnon talking. They're talking about 55 to 60 hard laps on a tank of fuel before you're empty. So 105 plus 60, that's 165. So they're within 5 laps of making this pit stop.
So that kind of gives us a crystal ball on when Garrett Maines and Matthew Lee. It's still pretty unpredictable. We've got a 5-lap range of when they're going to go down. Looks like Jared Mogard in the 5th position. He's going to pull down onto the pit lane, which leaves Garrett Maines, Matthew Lee, Derek Fulton, and Andrew Navarro as the last few drivers that have yet to pit.
Garrett Maines is saving some gas in the tank for sure, because he's now pulled his lead out to 1.1 seconds over Matthew Lee. That's going to give him a distinct advantage coming down for his green flag pit stop, and look to him pull way out ahead.
Looks like we have a driver wanting to get his lap back. That is the 14 of Billy Weeks. He is currently 76 laps down. He's about to be 75 as he's trying to get by Christopher Blanchard, who has retired, and try to get at least one more championship point.
Yeah, he's only two laps away from making that happen, as we've got about 37 laps to go in this one. He won't be able to catch the 11 of Howell, so once he gets by there, there's no real reason to keep in the way of these leaders. We'll see if he decides to park it once he gets that position, or if he races it to the end.
He still hasn't made it by Garrett Maines yet. He does have a lot of damage on the right side of that car. He goes low. And he's now going to be tied with Kevin Blanchard for 75 laps down, and he's going to make the pass on Christopher Blanchard and is now going to be in the 15th place. That's going to be one more point that he's going to be getting in the point standings.
Garrett Main starting to stretch his lead out, coming down to this green flag pit stop. 1.5 seconds now the distance. The next car back, the third place car, the 7 of Derek Fulton, he's now 7.5 seconds back. This is going to come down to a 2-truck show if we go green all the way. It's going to be Mains and Lee.
You know, I'm excited to see what Lee is going to have for Garrett Mains. He's been in that second position for quite a while now. I'm wondering if he's been surprised or tired of seeing that bumper of Garrett Mains for countless number of laps. I wonder if he's getting tired of seeing that Smithfield on the back of that car. We have more drivers trying to get their laps back. Who is that? That is the 02 of Josh Mayu. He's going to go back one lap down, and so is Jared Mogard, trying to get back into contention for this race.
As Garrett Mains continues to steadily pull away from the 04 Matthew Lee, you got to wonder, does Mains have the long run truck and does Matthew Lee have a short run truck? And will that make the difference when we only have about 25 laps to go?
Last restart, Matthew Lee had a great restart in that number 04 car. He flew past a lot of cars and he got into the second place position.
We got a yellow.
Whoa, that was
We got
unexpected.
a yellow. That is a game changer, folks. That is a game changer.
Looks to be the 54 of Curtis Critchley.
Yeah, Critchley suffered problems earlier. Ended up several laps down with those pit road penalties. Drives up into the corner.
Let's first get it from TV2. Critchley on the high side. Remember, he had those stop and go penalties. Tags the wall on exit of 2. Goes down. He didn't hit the 15 of Rominger. Then he pulls down, stays low, into the inner safer barrier. Spins around. Brandon Gagnon barely missing him. Let's take a look at that replay one more time. There it is. Just gets loose on exit. Almost hits the 15. And it's just the same story. Very loose.
Boy, that changes the composition of the end of this race quite a bit here. You got 4 drivers still in the lead lap and 1 lucky dog that's probably going to go to the 83 of Brendan Gagnon. But after that, everybody's going to be on the same cycle, fresh tires, and nobody's going to have that chance to make up that extra lap.
Looks like all the cars are going back onto the lead lap that are passing Garrett Mains in first. So everybody from Brandon Gagnon to Josh Mayu are all going back onto the lead lap, which I bet is what they wanted. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Brandon Gagnon, he's going to make it by them, but the same cars who are in 1, 2, 3, and 4 when the caution flag waved are going to stay that way after exiting pit road.
Yeah, it looks like 2 cars made it back to the lead lap through that cycle. The 83 of Brendan Gagnon and the 29 of Nicholas Sacco, making it a 6-truck race to the finish for the positions 1 through 6. Garrett Mains, he's got about 27 laps to win this race.
So I'm excited to see what these drivers are going to have for him.
You know what they say at the end of a long race, cautions may breed cautions. So anything could potentially happen from here on out. It's going to be a battle. We know they're going to be pushing it for all it's worth. Expect this intensity to come full circle here in the next 20 laps.
As looks like Garrett Mains is beginning to catch up to the 0-2 of Josh Mayu, who is a car up in front of him.
Looks like they've got both Mogard and Mayu now showing the lead lap.
That is right. I'm not sure. I think they might actually be trying to get a lot of the cars back on the lead lap to make for a competitive race. But if you are just now tuning in, welcome to the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series, ComServeWireless.com 200 at Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware. So far, it's been a great race. Only two different leaders, Garrett Maines and Andrew Navarro. Right now, Garrett Maines is your leader.
Every lap of this race just about, except for 12, I think Navarro led early in stage number 2. Garrett has shown that he takes the lead, holds his position, keeps it about 2 to 3 tenths over the guy behind him, and waits for about 10 laps to go, then just puts the hammer down and drives away.
Now, iRacers, you know how hard it is to get your I rating up there, but look at Garrett Maines' I rating, 82.45. License is pro.
Yeah, stats like that, it's not a wonder you're leading a race.
Right, he worked so hard. Here's Matthew Lee. He's A-Class, 53.74. Got Derek Fulton, 39.71 A-Class. But here we go. We got the restart. Andrew Navarro, 32.22 A-Class.
Lights are down, pace car ducking in, Maines and Lee.
And it's all on the flag, man. Here we go. Green
And
flag is back out here at Dover International Speedway. Garrett Maines is going to take the lead. The 0-4 of Matthew Lee is going to fall into second. Andrew Navarro third. Derek Fulton fourth. Jason.
We know from the second segment, Navarro was really good on the short run. He's already made a pass to get himself up to the number 3 spot. If he can get by the 0-4 of Matthew Lee pretty easy, I expect him to be the one that puts a challenge on Maines for the lead.
He's starting to catch up to the 0-4 of Matthew Lee, but I don't know if he is going to be able to do it. 175 laps have been completed of 200. We are now getting into the nitty-gritty of this race here.
25 laps the distance until we declare a winner. Garrett Maines got that comfortable 0.2 of a second lead over Matthew Lee. Navarro slipped back just a little bit from that, running about a half a second back. Fulton, another 0.2 behind him. Top 5, all looking really strong. Brandon Gagnon making his way back from the lap down bracket to run 5th. Sacco ran in the top 3 for most of this race so far. I don't think he had a very good pit strategy on that last race. Is 6th. And 7th, Josh Mayu. That is going to be your top 8. And the only cars on the lead lap out of 19.
Then you got Jason Maines and Jim Westerfield. Those two are hoping for another caution, which is not out of the question. Then you got Ryan Kendall in 11th, Jason Rominger in 12th, Curtis Critchley 13th. Then we got some of the drivers that retired, Peyton Howell, Christopher Blanchard, and Kieran Church, and Billy Weeks, who's 75 laps down. He is still running. He just wants the points.
On the track right now, the 35 of Westerfield, one of your cars a lap down. He's battling real hard with Brandon Gagnon, but Gagnon's shown in the 5th spot.
Looks like Westerfield is trying to really get his lap back, but what's even more impressive is Mr. Jason Maines. He's starting to catch up to Derek Fulton and Andrew Navarro, who are 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, not quite sure how Jason Maines found himself yet another lap down after he worked himself back up to the lead lap, but there he is, the first person in conduction for that lucky dog should the caution flag wave.
And so that's Jason Maines is praying for that caution right now. He wants it to come out so he can be back into contention.
Lap 180's in the books. Garrett Maines still has that just about a 0.2 second lead over Matthew Lee, but Matthew Lee can draw right up to the bumper going into the corner, but off that corner, Maines so strong, just pulling away.
What does Matthew Lee have for Garrett Maines? We'll see what happens here in the coming laps.
Derek Fulton now sniffing the tailpipe of Andrew Navarro for that number 3 spot. Again, we've heard it before. Derek Fulton all the way up from the 14th position. Not the greatest qualifying run, but he's got some steam in the tank as he drops down low looking into 3.
Derek Fulton is going to pass and clear the 42 of Andrew Navarro, but Andrew Navarro is still right there. But I don't know. I think Derek Fulton is going to remain in 3rd. Again, started in 14th. He's now in 3rd. I do believe that he will be getting the Hard Charger Award, and it is well deserved.
Oh, steady march all the way from the back throughout the whole race here. Wasn't even in the top 5 for the end of segment number 1, but here he is getting ready to battle for the number 2 spot with only 17 laps to go.
Here we go. Only a couple laps left. Garrett Maines remains in the lead here at Dover. Matthew Lee 2nd, Derek Fulton 3rd, Andrew Navarro 4th, and Brandon Gagnon is in 5th.
That's all she wrote for the top 5. Let's look at the number 6 car of Jared Mogart. He's in the number 00. 7th goes to Nicholas Sacco. 8th running order right now is Josh Mayu, and that completes your cars on the lead lap. We got 2 cars just 1 lap down. That'd be the number 3 of Jason Maines and the 35 of Jim Westerfield. There's your top 10.
You got Ryan Kendall. He's 2 laps down, but still in the track. Jason Rominger 9 laps down. Curtis Critchley 13 laps down, and Billy Weeks 75 laps down, but still on the track. And of course, Peyton Howell, Christopher Blanchard, and Kieran Church not having the days that they wanted to see. They are all retired for this race.
Bladen Edwards, problems connecting to the server right before the drop of the green flag rendered him not eligible for tonight's event. Too bad, because Bladen Edwards is a strong competitor.
That's right, and very disappointing. Of course, you're racing against the cars on the track. I say this a lot, but a lot of times you're racing against not only the track, not only the cars, but your internet as well. That can definitely be something that can play a key factor in who wins or loses.
No doubt about that. As we work down to only 10 laps to go, I've been watching the stopwatch here, and Garrett Maines starting to pull away yet again. He's increased his lead to just about a half a second, and Derek Fulton, he's fallen back to about 1 second back of the leader. Garrett Maines going to be too strong for these guys as he's starting to put the pedal to the metal.
What a run for that one car of Garrett Maines, but not to be outdone. In 2nd place is Matthew Lee. Does he have anything for Garrett Maines, or will he settle with a 2nd place? I don't know.
Yeah, nobody looking to settle for 2nd in any race, but Matthew Lee's pedaled it for all he's worth all day long. Been in the top 5 since the drop of the green flag. 2nd place is going to be, bittersweet for him as he's shown some speed, but just hasn't quite gotten his nose to the front.
Still, though, it's a good performance. Top 3 out of 19 cars. That's still really good performance, considering all of the setbacks that he's had to go through.
Not to mention the strength of field here today, super high.
I'm looking here, majority of the drivers on the track are A-class, and of course, Garrett Maines is pro.
For those of you that may not be familiar with the platform, an I rating is essentially your super stat. The higher the number, the better you are. And Garrett Maines topping the charts here today. He's in the 8,000s. Give you any feeling about how it is? An average racer such as myself, about 1,500.
Right, so Garrett Maines, he's one of the best of the best. Only drivers who put their life and soul into iRacing, work hard every single day, gets on a pro iRating, and that's a real honor for the one car of Garrett Maines.
Lap number 194 coming to a close. That's going to put just 6 laps to go. 6 laps to go for Maines, and he's got 0.6 of a second lead.
So can Garrett Maines wrap it up? I think he has the chance to do it, as long as he has a mistake-free 5 laps. Then he should be your winner here. But of course, stuff can always happen, and especially at a track like Dover. So still not quite over for the 04 of Matthew Lee or the 42 of Andrew Navarro. As you can see, if we look from here, still Matthew Lee can still see Garrett Maines, and that means that he still has a chance to make it by him. But I don't know, 4 laps is what he needs to try to get by Garrett Maines.
We got one hotly contested battle on the track, and that's for the number 6 spot. Jared Mogard and Nicholas Sacco slugging it out with just a couple of laps to go. Back and forth here for the last couple of laps. That time by Mogard, going to be your winner.
But I do not think we've seen the end of Nicholas Sacco. He's going to try to make a pass in 3 and 4. Nope, that line that Mogard is running blocked the 29, as we now have 2 to go.
2 to go for your leader, Garrett Maines, as he pulls that half a second lead out to just a little bit more, 0.523 seconds over Matthew Lee. Navarro now into that 3rd spot as Fulton drops back to 4th.
So Garrett Maines, he has led 182 laps today. That's majority of the race. Fastest lap was a 22.692.
Lap traffic getting high out of the way of the 15 of Rominger, puts it all the way to the top groove and lets these leaders come by down the backstretch one more time for Maines.
So Garrett Maines has had one heck of a run here at Dover, and now he's about to cross the start-finish line and get a win here at Dover International Speedway. Congratulations to Garrett Maines.
That is 5 out of 6 races on the PMI series here for Garrett Maines. That's an incredible win percentage, and it shows you why he's listed as a pro.
Let's look and see if Garrett Maines does a burnout. If so, it's well deserved for that one car. And here we go, celebrating that win here is Garrett Maines in the number 1 car. Definitely one of the happiest people on earth right now.
It takes a lot of guts and glory to run that number 1, because if you don't live up to the hype of being number 1, you're a laughingstock. And today, Garrett Maines shows the world he is number 1.
Putting his heart and soul into that burnout here at Dover, as he is going to stop on the high side. Let's take a look at the finishing order. So,
as stated, the winner of the event, truck number 1, that's Garrett Maines, coming in 2nd place, 0.7 of a second back, the 04 of Matthew Lee. And your top 3 finisher in the 3rd spot, number 42, that is Andrew Navarro, the only other leader to lead laps today.
Then 4th, not to be outdone, is the 7 of Derek Fulton. Great performance. Brandon Gagnon had a lot of hurdles to jump over. He finishes 5th, and Jared Mogard rounds out your top 6.
Only 2 more cars on the lead lap. That'd be the 29 of Sacco and the 02 of Josh Mayu. Then we run out to the 9th and 10th place positions. The drivers just one lap down. 9th going to the 3 of Jason Maines, and 10th going to the 35 of Westerfield.
Then Ryan Kendall, he finished 2 laps down in 11th. Jason Rominger getting in a couple accidents, he finishes 12th. Curtis Critchley finishes 14th. Not having the run that he wanted, but still had a great performance, was up in the top 10 for a while. Peyton Howell finished 14th. Billy Weeks, despite 75 laps down, he still ran that 14 car to a 15th place finish. Christopher Blanchard, Kieran Church not having the days that they wanted. Bladen Edwards ended up having some connection issues. He finishes 18th, and Jim Grady Jr. didn't grid at all. So we are going to take a quick break as we get all of the drivers into the booth, and then we will have the victory and second and third place interviews. Welcome back to Dover International Speedways. We are getting set for the driver interviews to see what the top 3, what was their take on the race. So starting off, let's pull Andrew Navarro into the booth as Eric will interview him.
Andrew, welcome to the Victory Lane broadcast booth. How did you feel about that finish?
That finish was quite crazy, actually. I thought I would have been a lot better. I got past Derek, and then I thought I was going to bring a charge to Matt, but I don't know. I lost my front end.
The only other driver to lead laps today was yourself. We were thinking that potentially you were a little bit better on the short run. We were expecting a hard charge in that last 25 laps. Didn't quite get all the way back up to the front, but all in all, it looks like it's going to be a good points day for you. Looks pretty tight at the top, and you just gained several positions as from my calculations. Does that make you feel better about a third place finish?
Yeah, it makes me feel a lot better. I think the outside on the restarts was just not as good as the inside. I feel like you spent like 2 laps up there on the high side, and you would just burn your front tires off. So, I mean, it was difficult. The setup was maybe not the best setup, but yeah.
Well, congratulations on a third place run. You got any sponsors you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank 7Cs, Beely, Phantom Graphics, Phantom GFX, and LSR TV.
Congratulations on your third place run. Let's turn it over to the second place car, the 04 of Matthew Lee.
So let's get him into the booth. So, hey Matthew, that was a great race. You hung up there up front with Garrett Maines for a while. Overall, it was a great run. What was your take on the race here at Dover?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Track went through quite a few changes there throughout the race, so that was pretty interesting. All of a sudden, the last run there, we took off, and the track picked up like half a second. We were all pretty surprised by it, and that second stage, I found something where the track was really it's pretty tight and was really burning up the tires on the front. So I was able to find something where I was actually one of the faster guys at the end of that run, and I was kind of hoping the track was going to stay like that, but it kind of went a different direction, and Garrett just caught onto it quicker than I did.
So, did you find your setup? Was it pretty good throughout this race? How did the car change throughout it?
At the beginning of the race, it started real tight, and we were all struggling with it. I burnt the front tires. Like I was pretty surprised. If we would have gone much longer past that first stage, I'd have probably blown a front tire. And then it started to get a little better as we put down some rubber throughout the race. So pretty happy with it towards the end.
So I see you got some sponsors on that car. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I gotta thank GTR Simulators, Swag Wraps and Graphics. Big shout out to Billy and Rhonda for everything they do for us. Butt Kicker, Ryko Setup Shop, ComServe Wireless for those guys coming on board and everything they're doing, Studio Displays and everything they're doing. PMI Pavement Marking Incorporated, those guys that do putting on this series. All the guys on the team, a lot of work going in right now, and I really appreciate everyone.
Wow, congratulations on second place, and hopefully we'll see you next race.
Thanks, Atlee. Thank you guys for coming on and doing the broadcast as well.
We had fun. It was great. Now, last but not least, let's bring in Garrett Maines, your winner here at Dover.
Garrett, welcome to Victory Lane. How do you feel?
Oh man, ready for bed. I was definitely glad the yellow came out there because I was starting to struggle.
Quite a dominating performance you had here today. Led the majority of the laps. The number one Smithfield was a rocket all day long, and it just seemed like towards the end of any of those runs, you were just able to stretch it out that much further to give yourself that advantage, and it eventually landed you here in Victory Lane.
Yeah, I definitely took a conservative approach to the strategy on saving tires and stuff. You could really see it when Andrew was screeching his tires around the corners. He was really pushing it there at the beginning of the run. He did a good job holding up for a long time. It's just you can't push that hard. It's really easy for me to get back by him when he pushes like that. So I kind of sat back and just waited. I knew the moment that Nicholas pulled out a line to pass him, I knew I'd get a run. So I just kind of waited for that to happen. Put it 3 wide, and that was probably the last shot. At that point, the track had gotten pretty cold, pretty rubbered up, and it was all about staying in your line, not missing your line, because it was a lot harder to save tires once it got rubbered in. But it's a lot of fun. It was a good track. It was a really clean race too.
Yeah, no doubt. Lots of green flag action here tonight. Some of the key notes that I picked up was, after those cycle of green flag pit stops, all those guys racing you hard to get those lap back. That must have been a little bit nerve-wracking for you. Some of those guys were racing you pretty tough.
To be honest with you, the first person that went by me, I think, was Sacco, and I wasn't paying attention to who it was. And I was so tired that I saw a guy coming up behind me. I'm just like, take the bottom. And then I realized it was him. I was like, dang it, take the top. It was a little too late for that one. But I kind of figured with it being, Dover, it would be hard for somebody to get into entry. And I didn't want to get screwed on pit strategy. So I decided once Sacco pit first, I knew I was going to get screwed if the yellow did come out because he would get the lucky dog. Which he didn't, actually, because I'd forgotten the people had pit before him. But I knew I wasn't going to be the lucky dog, so I just played the strategy, waited out, and, keep fingers crossed. I thought I'd have enough time, but my dad actually keyed up to say something to somebody, and so I didn't get to key up to say pitting in, and so I just went another lap. The yellow came out that lap, so I was very fortunate there because that was going to be my race, but definitely happy that worked out that way because that would have sucked.
Yeah, no doubt. After leading so many laps, to have a problem like that would have been devastating. But, that didn't happen, and you got it done. You're standing tall in victory lane. You got to have some sponsors you want to throw a shout out to.
Yeah, for sure. Got to thank Smithfield 101, CBD, SimSeat, Strickland Hardy, Bradley Mechanical, Linux, the guys at ESE, Elliott Sadler Esports, for all the time they put into pro this year. We had a pretty good finish, a good rebound at Daytona this week after getting caught up in the big one. So definitely fortunate to still be above the cut line after that, and all the guys at Richmond Raceway Esports as well for all their support.
Well, again, congratulations, Garrett, on your victory here tonight at Dover.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that was a great race here at Dover. Of course, it was very dominant by Garrett Maines, but still action all throughout the racetrack. So
yeah, no doubt, Atlee. This was a blast for me to call for my first race here with the Swag TV crew. I had a great time with you in the broadcast booth tonight, and I thank you greatly for having me along.
It was a great race to broadcast, and thank you all for watching this race here for the Swag TV coverage of Week 6 of the PMI Pavement Marking Truck Series for the ComServeWireless.com 200. Make sure to like, make sure to follow, and make sure to turn on notifications on both Facebook and YouTube Swag-TV. And also, next time we broadcast, if you didn't do it today, make sure to share it. So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next